Welcome to the AI Security Update, hosted by Dr. Anmol Agarwal, where we break down the latest in AI and security with experts on the front lines, focused on what you need to know without the hype. Welcome to the AI Security Update, where we discuss the latest in AI and security. Today, I'm so excited to introduce our guest for this episode, Yacine from Escape. So welcome to the show, Yacine. Can you please introduce yourself and your background?
Yeah, so I'm currently an R&D engineer at Escape working in AI for security. My background, I think, started with machine learning like many years ago before ChatGPT. And then I pivoted into cybersecurity, and with all the AI things, I saw the opportunities both in AI for security and securing AI as well. And I also joined OWASP Exchange as a member like last year. And the goal of the OWASP Exchange is to spread awareness around AI security, explain technical concepts to security professionals and also non-security professionals. We also have a role in everything related to compliance, AI security compliance, European AI Act, etc. So my background is like really into AI and security, I would say.
Yeah, I think the OWASP AI Exchange is a really great resource for those who are not aware. Oftentimes we refer to it in the industry as well, right? OWASP top 10, whether it's ML or AI or now AI agents. And they always have really great guidance for the industry that we actually refer to in even standards documents. So really, really great work from the OWASP AI Exchange. Yassine, based on your experience, whether it's at Escape or your involvement with OWASP, what are some challenges you've seen with AI security?
Yeah, so I actually made a lot of discovery calls with many clients, enterprise. And I think I saw like two scenarios. The first one is companies looking for quick wins to secure AI. So like they deploy AI models and they want to filter out what goes into the model using like, AI firewall, these kind of things. So I would say it's the first like company profile I saw. The second one is companies that are more like advanced in their AI usage. They are already deploying AI agents internally. So they are looking for ways to secure not only the model, but also the agent, the actions that the agent takes. And, this goes all around less privilege, these kind of things. So I would say those two types of companies are the ones I saw mainly based on my experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have two types of companies, right? We have the AI enthusiasts that they just want to deploy AI right away. And then we have the more sophisticated AI companies that really want to understand securing the AI model, securing the AI agent. So based on your perspective, what is some advice you have in terms of securing AI agents and also securing AI models?
Yeah, I think it can be really complicated for like some security professionals because when you're securing a big organization, a lot of developers are playing around with AI tools and maybe you don't know what they do with it. Um, so I would say the first thing is observability, like knowing what is going on in the company, which AI tool is used. I think that still can be hard because some developers can maybe become frustrated because they get too much restricted from AI usage. So I think that's where the balance comes in between like letting enough innovation to be used and also still like be cautious about what's going on. I would say the main advice would be like not limit yourself to model security. Quite early on, it was like advocating for pivoting the attention to securing agents, because at that time, early on in AI security, majority of the content advices were around, "Oh, this new prompt injection technique is out. Beware of that." The real risks is what can happen after this model bypass, this prompt injection thing. So first of all, like analyze which agents you have internally in your company, whether they are coding agents or whatever, and then apply the traditional cybersecurity concepts like least privilege, etc., security by design. So I would say this is the first one. And also for the companies that are building now AI products, I would say AI security is like a very important topic for you, because you're not only using AI internally, but you're treating clients' data with your AI product. So you have to be even more cautious about that. So I would say, yeah, my main advice would be like, don't get caught into all the noise around um, prompt injection, etc. This is important, I think, to keep track of what's happening, to have models that are up to date in their defense, but it's just the first step. If this step is bypassed, then it can be even more dangerous. So yeah, based on what I saw, I think that would be the main advice I would give.
Yeah, and I think people need to also be aware that it's not just about generative AI prompt injection, it's also predictive analytics as well. So some of the same machine learning security concepts still apply even to generative AI. So there are some attacks we talk about in adversarial machine learning. I'm sure Yassine, you're probably aware of these, but for example, poisoning is the most popular one. So it also is about data security as well, is where is the AI model getting the data from? And if it's learning incorrect information, of course, it will give you an incorrect result. And you also mentioned security by design. So there are also methods you can do to make your systems more secure. Data security, adding model security. There are ways to add adversarial robustness to the machine learning models, like maybe adversarial training is a good example. So you can train the AI model on examples of attacks. You can train it on these examples of attacks to try to see what will make it more robust. So an example is an adversarial example. The classic example we use to explain this security issue is it's an image of a panda, but then the AI model says that it's misclassified to be a gibbon. So you can add it to an AI model and then it will misclassify that image and think, oh, that's a gibbon. And that's an adversarial example because to people, it looks like a panda image, but then to others, it looks like a gibbon. And you can actually train your AI model to recognize these adversarial examples to also make your model more robust. And then I would say a lot of it is around governance as well, based on my experience. So it's about people understanding that these AI models can be attacked and having incident response plans in place as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right regarding that. Majority of the attention is like towards, LLMs, LLM security. But you're right saying that, a lot of models that are like present since many, many years are based on classic machine learning models. And those are still at risk and should be considered with that, especially regarding, um, image detection. Like take the example of a car, autonomous car. I think that the risk can be really big for the safety of just, humans, passengers, because if a car just makes a mistake regarding what's happening on the road, that can have huge consequences. So not many security professionals know the risks around that, because as I said, all the hype and the attention is around LLMs, of course.
Yes, I know because so I did a lot of my research on adversarial machine learning before we had LLMs and generative AI as the hype. I've already talked about this in other episodes, but as you know, it's an evolution of natural language processing. So a lot of these older machine learning and AI technologies, it's really think of it like your camera, how your camera has evolved is might be a good example. Like initially, we all had to carry really big, bulky cameras, and now we have, smartphones that can take pictures for us. So it's like LLM is like just an evolution of the AI technologies, but it's the same underlying concepts I would say still apply even to LLMs. They just call it different names or different terms.
Yeah, definitely.
And one other question I have for you is I know Escape does a lot related to API security. So, based on your perspective, what are the interactions or the combination of AI and API security?
Yeah, that's a really good question because, I think today the many people understood that AI security is now like really about securing the agent, securing what the agent does. And what we see now is that the agent is using, MCPs, CLI, but what is like the technology that is behind all of that is, API, classic APIs. So I think a lot of like LLM security or AI security generally is about API security because if your underlying technology isn't secure, of course, if the AI is going to take an action, that could be dangerous, of course, because like take, for example, all things regarding OpenClaw, the things that happened recently with some incidents we saw as well. The problem was that the agent was taking actions without being stopped because the least privilege framework wasn't applied. The API permissions were allowed. It was given long-lived API keys, also, or sort of things. So I think that a lot of problems we are seeing and we will see regarding agent security is around classic patterns, application security, API security, things. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of hype around AI security, but a lot of the same principles apply. Could you give an example for the audience about some classic API security controls that they should be aware of?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is to treat the agent like a new kind of identity. In the industry, we already talk about non-human identity, everything related to service accounts, etc. But now we have a new kind of non-human identity, which is AI agents. So I would say, especially regarding tokens, PI keys, kind of things, beware of treating them like humans and giving them too much permissions or like even in the time, scope that in the time and also in the permissions. I think that's the first step. But of course, before that, the action that should be taken is, first of all, understanding which agents are running, for example, inside your organization, properly scope the permissions for each agent. Yeah.
So, another question I have is based on what you've seen in the news related to the current events, is there one current event that you think the audience should know about related to AI security?
Yeah, actually, I think like recently an incident happened with Light LLM. I think you heard about it. So basically what was the incident is that like Light LLM is a technology that helps like routing to LLM models. And they also have a Python library. And the thing is, a supply chain incident happened because the the library was using some compromised GitHub action that was from Trivia, I think. Then tokens leaked, accounts were compromised, and then the attackers were allowed to publish malicious versions of Light LLM on PyPy, which means that like each one of the developers who was using Light LLM with the wrong version at that time was exposed to just being attacked by this supply chain attack. And I think it's really interesting because it shows how AI security is not only about agents, model security, it's really related to everything that we have known in the past, like supply chain security, that is still a big subject. And it shows that, yeah, the more dependencies you have, the more vulnerable you get, of course. And it's also scary to see how AI is accelerating hacking, but hopefully AI will also accelerate defense, and that will be really interesting to track.
Another question I have is related to your work at OWASP Exchange. So if you could just explain what it's like to be part of that exchange for the audience who's interested, or just some more information about it.
Yes, first of all, of course, you can access the website waspai.org. Uh, so basically, what we do is that we provide like free open source resources to understand what is really about AI security um, for security professionals and also non-security professionals, because I know that some folks in AI engineering, ML engineering are interested into securing the thing they build. So yeah, first of all, that's what we do, and we also go to conferences to speak with people about everything related to AI security. And also a big role, as I mentioned, is being responsible for things related to compliance. The AI Exchange has played an important role regarding the European AI Act, and the deadline is coming fast for companies who want to comply to AI security regarding this act. So I think that was a really important work. So I encourage anyone to just go to the website to learn more about what the OWASP does.
And you mentioned that you're providing guidance to both security and non-security professionals. So if we think about the non-security professionals, what's an everyday scenario that explains an AI security concept?
That's a good question. I think based on my experience, there's something quite funny because my work is mainly around AI for security, so building agents. But security companies aren't immune against for AI security as well. Like when we build agents ourselves, we must make sure that first of all, the agents cannot be controlled by external attackers, has the right permissions, the right tools at the right moment. So I think security professionals, like people building security solutions, we should be aware that we are also responsible for building secure AI solutions. And we've seen incidents with security company as well. So that can happen like in all industries. And I think this dual identity is quite funny, but it's really important for at the same time to ensure that the agents we build for security are secure themselves.
Yeah, great point. So, Yassine, thank you so much for being on the show. But my last question for you is, are there any resources you recommend for people to learn more, whether they want to learn how to build these AI agents or they want to learn more about something else we discussed today?
Yeah, sure. Of course, the first resource I would recommend is go to ospai.org. You can type /roadmap and you will see everything listed about many subjects around AI security. And I think one of the best resources is just to do things by yourself, I would say. Try out new AI tools. Of course, be aware of the risk. We've seen it with OpenFlow. But I think, yeah, just grab a project, open source project. You can deploy it locally, play with it, understand it, all things regarding cloud code, etc. Like in those days, like my Saturday, like usually goes to, playing out with those tools to stay updated. And yeah, I think by practicing, we are also realizing the risks that could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much. I think that's great advice. Sometimes you can only learn by doing and by experimenting with these tools. And I always advise people if they want to learn Python, there are so many free tutorials on the internet as well. So thank you so much, Yacine, for being on the show. Is there anything else you want to add before we close?
No, not really. I think we covered many topics. I really like this conversation. So thank you, Anmol, for having me here. And yeah, just stay curious and just continue to learn new things about AI and security. There's so much things to discover. This is an industry that keeps being evolving. So yeah, just stay curious, I think.
Yeah, just stay curious. Great advice. So this concludes our episode of the AI Security Update. We'll be back next time with more great conversations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the AI Security Update. No hype, just what you need to know. Subscribe to catch the latest episodes and connect with me, Dr. Anmol, on LinkedIn for more insights from the world of AI security. We'll see you next time.